Well, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Tenant Farmer. My name is David, and I hope you're doing very, very well. We're not going back to the yard straight away. There is one surprise for us waiting there. But today, at the beginning of March, we have an even bigger surprise. We are going to go and have a look at it right about now. This has been something that we've been working on for a while with the local estate, where we currently lease our ground off of, and it's something that's going to be, well, could well be quite impressive for us, really. It's going to really expand what we're able to do and everything that we're looking into doing with it as well there. So it's it first came around just towards the end of last year. It was a project that the estate were working on, and they wanted to know if I would have any interest in taking on a new lease. And, well, I do. We are. And it's right in here. So let's go and have a look. So all this area around here is to be rewilded, really. I think trees and hedges and things like that going into there. But over here is what we're more interested in. And we're going to go have a drive through here. There's a lot of reclaimed land in here, and this is going to be quite crucial for a new bit of diversification that we're looking into. And I have mentioned quite often in the past there that we are looking to get a little bit more grassland for hay, and particularly we're going to be looking into organic grassland, which is exactly what this is now. It hasn't had any fertilizers on here for the last 3 years, and we're looking to continue that process. We are going to be baling this for hay, particularly horse hay, equine hay. So we're going to be getting this ready to go. There's a few different fields in here as well. Have a look through. Everything's been newly fenced. You can see there's a lot of tree replantation going on around here as well. Which is great, and allowing just a lot of diversification to come back into here in terms of the wildlife as well, which is what we want to see, and which is what I really had to pitch about, so I could actually be the successful candidate here. So now it does help that my ground is just there, but it's always nice to have a lot more. And all this ground here, we've got a bit of slurry that we're going to put on today to try and really boost this along here, and that's going to allow us to see just what we can get back from this field, really, or these fields. We've already had all the soil sampling done. Everything is looking good on that perspective, but we just need to pay a bit of attention to these fields to get them going. There is one field that was stubble. Well, there's stubble that was oats, I think, last year, way over there. That's going to be hopefully spring barley this season, and we'll see what that looks like there. This fence has been put in, and it's a bit narrow in places, but we can still get ourselves in. It's a small little track there, but I think that works really for what we're looking at. A bit bumpy as always, but we've got a Land Rover, and it takes us up this lovely little barn at the top as well, which means that we have plenty of places in which to store our own hay, which is good. So we don't necessarily have to take it back to our yard. We have space to store our yard, of course, but we've got even more now, which is great. So with that being said, let's just spin ourselves around here and have a bit of a wander in. Lot of flattening here from when they were going through doing all the post knocking work. That's fine. We're gonna, like I say, get as much slurry on some of these grass fields as we can. There's the far field, you can see that stubble. There's this big grass field here, and then there's two more there as well. So it's a fair size. I think this all in all comes up to around about 75 acres, which is great. So it really does boost our capacity, or boost our acreage on the farm by about a third, which is awesome. And it's going to allow us to kick on a little bit and hopefully see a little bit more diversification coming in, and allow us to really get some traction going here in these times. So we will be fertilizing these fields with slurry and box muck. Obviously the grass is getting a little bit long to put muck onto at the moment, so we are going to put slurry on there and hope that's going to be okay. It is early March as we speak, so there's plenty of time for it to really absorb in before we bring out the mowers there, which is great. But the next issue that we have is that we need to think about this demo situation that we've been going through. And there is a new demo tractor at the yard there for us to have a play around with. And Massey Ferguson, of course I was going to have a dabble with a Massey. They brought something to my attention, and it is a curveball, frankly. And it may not have been such a curveball if we didn't have this land here already, but we do. And so it's a different question for us to look into and answer. So we will go back to the yard. We'll have a look at what's parked up there, discuss why it's a curveball and what that might look like for our next decision, and yeah, from there we could decide what our next steps are going to be for today. Like I say, slurry tanker is already hooked up, ready to go. This is going to be tight to get in and out of with a tanker. I know that much for sure. I might have to speak to them about that because there's no other way into that field. However, we will just tootle on home. And yeah, let's have a look at what's going on over there and see what we're going to do next. All right, we're going to just park the Land Rover slightly out of the way because we're going to be in and out of here quite a bit. We took a load of produce away this morning as well. Garden's coming along very well still, which is fantastic to see. It really, really is. And now it's getting warmer, which is great news, which means that the polytunnel will be able to be kept off for a while. And we should start to see even more production there, or one would hope that we do at the very least. So look forward to seeing that. Anyway, back into the yard. So you all know that we have recently leased or demoed a voucher. We've demoed a New Holland. We demoed a Kubota, among other things as well. And we had a case recently that we didn't get the video, unfortunately. And today, well, today we are looking at Massey Ferguson. Of course we're going to, because we've got 2 Masseys of our own on the yard here. Spoke to my dealer, and well, look what he sent me. This is interesting, and I'll tell you why it's interesting. One, the flashing lights are on. I have a bit of an issue with leaving those on all the time. That's definitely a me thing, not the tractor thing. It's a lot bigger than anything we have. This is, as you can see, a 67. Can't quite see, but it's there. 6714. So it's a bigger tractor. It's bigger and significantly bigger and heavier than our current loader tractor there. And it's also a lot bigger in terms of horsepower. I think this is about 140 horsepower. So it's what's that going to be? About a 67 no, or 50 or 60 horsepower increase from our current loader tractor there. Now the reason why this is making me think a bit, we've increased our land capacity and output by quite a large amount. We are going to be doing a lot more loader work. There's a plan, there's a new bit of equipment arriving next week that we are going to have to be using a lot of, and it's going to require us to do a lot more loader work as well. And because of that, I'm wondering if, rather than looking for a tractor that can essentially just replace this, how much bigger do we need to go? So this is an option. There was a discussion around looking at a 5S, but we just, I was tempted by this first, and we'll see. This might be too big, and we may well look to take another punt at the 5S there. But for now, we're going to give this a go. We have a 6M quickie loader on there, so it's a size up from the loader that we use. But still a lovely loader. Absolutely adore these things. And then we've got a slurry tanker that we're going to go and fill up there. And this is going to be the first time for us using the dribble bar as well. I do believe we've got GPS fitted in here as well, so it's all singing, all dancing. And it'll allow us to, if we're doing a lot of work, especially when it gets into harvest there, we can still use the 5470 for some of the heavier cultivation work as well, but this will take a little bit of the strain off of there. So this is where my thoughts are at the moment. So, with that being said, we're all hooked up. We'll get ourselves on into the cab and let's get this fired up. Okay, so like I say, GPS is on here. We'll have a play around with that very shortly when we're in the field. What I do need to do is load up. It's much bigger than what we're used to. It's a lot faster. The loader, again, like all these other new tractors that we've been playing with, so much faster. Now it is going to be a little bit bigger around these yards, and that's the one thing we have to consider and want to test today is, you know, how does it handle going around these yards when we're stacking bales or loading the feeder wagon? It's the one test that I'm intrigued by, so we'll have to see how that works out. Now what we do need to do, we've got a lot of slurry to shift around today, so we'll start by kicking this into the slurry lagoon down there, and we'll see. We'll probably have to, as we move around here, shift the loader around and shift it up and down so we can get a bit more space in there, but you know, it's all good. But yeah, very intrigued by this. This is currently, obviously, as I mentioned this, and clearly this is a demonstrator, but we were told that if we were looking into this option, I could actually buy this off this tractor, this very tractor, the demo tractor with a few hours on the clock there. We could look at buying, which would do wonders for the actual price of it as well. Before we do anything, let's kick that up. So there is that. We'd obviously still be trading in the current loader tractor as well. But yeah, it just means there's a lot more for us to think about, really. Now, do I have to move that or can I get around? I think we could be good. I think we're there. Okay. Smashing. Alright, so we are filling up there nicely. It's a tick over mode really. Our current tractors have to have a few revs on the clock to get them to do this, but we are just ticking along very nicely indeed. We'll get us filled up there. And it looks like we're good. And now we will just slowly take ourselves out there, have a bit of a cruise down to the field, see if we can get in as it is, and get some start. Otherwise, we'll have to go and take some fencing gear down there at some point today and make that a little bit more accessible. But I think we should be okay. The idea is that, like I say, it is March now. If we can get a cut of hay off there by, and weather dependent of course, in late June, July, we laughing. And then if we can put a bit of slurry back on there and get some cut of silage off there to sell, I wouldn't be against that either. So that would be my current preferences. Yeah, very nice, very smooth, very quiet tractor. Bigger, it feels a lot in the same kind of realm as the T6 there, because really I think it's a bit of a competitor there really, and it's a it just feels like a bigger tractor really. In terms of other dealers that we're going to be trying, we're not going to be going for any of the green apart from the class really, because of just location of dealers. They're miles away to me, so that's not going to make much sense, to be honest with you. I do value my dealer support, so that's something we're going to be looking towards working with. So we'll probably be staying with everything we've looked at so far. Easy. Now you might say, yes, but you've got a Massey here. That is true, but the dealer that we use for this group here are specifically more Massey than the Fendt. So it's just a preference really for us. And we've been Massey through and through, and the price of this Massey is going to be a lot less than the equivalent of a Fendt as well. So it's all being kind of considered at some stage. Yeah, I do like this tractor a lot. I love the new layout here. We've got away from the T-stick that I've obviously got on both of my machines. The joystick on our left here does most of your main functions. Speed, direction. You can set up your PTO and things like that. And then the one on the right, I've got set up for the loader work, and you can also put it in for the third service as well. Now, this is going to be a bit tight. We're just going to try and swing it wide a little bit here. I get that they want to protect these trees when they put the fencing in, but like I'll never get a bale trail around here. And of course, what doesn't help at this time is that my slurry tanker here is probably about 3.5, 4 foot longer than it used to be because of the dribble bar on the back. So it's even less nimble than I would like it to be. Ooh, we're gonna hit a gate post. That, good lord, is that ever tight? Alright, well, we're in. Just. As these trees grow up on the side here as well, it's going to look pretty impressive, that's for sure. But we're in. We're going to get ourselves into one of these fields to get started. I don't know if we've got enough slurry to cover everything today. We'll give it a good go. We will try our best here. It's already a good bit of grass on some of these fields, so it should look pretty good for us. And then we can just zip through. Okay. Yeah, nice bit of land, nice and light. It's got good drainage on here. It's on a hill as well, which will always help with the drainage. They actually reinstated some of the drains in here as part of the project that they're working on, which is part of an effort to rewilding and agricultural work in hand really, because it's a lot of farmers will buy out, or a lot of landowners, I think it's probably fair to say, buy their big chunks of land and then just stick a load of wildflowers in there and leave it, which is not very good for anything really. It's nice for the environment, but it doesn't help the food chain. It doesn't help the production of food for either animals or humans alike. So it's nice to be able to have that bit of an option. We are going to go into the field at the very top there for now, I think, and just get cracking with that one. if for no other reason, but because this bit's being flattened, I want to just run over with the dribble bar and see if we can make that look a little bit better for itself. What we would likely do, and what I'm trying to find and get a hold of some people to do now actually, is for this field in the future, is to get like a dribble bar or a pipe setup in here, because that's going to be a little bit more effective. Just have like some sort of nurse tank on the side, and that I could even trail backwards and forwards and fill up, and be able to really make a better go of it. But anyway, for today, we don't have that. We're going to crack on with this. As the temperatures are warming up more and more each day, we will be looking to hopefully soon crack on with a bit of drilling of our own, which would be cool. Got some spring drilling to do. So if we can get going with that, that would be lovely. Actually, before we get going, I'm just going to stick myself back into the corner properly. And what I also want to do is load this down. Alright, I think we're good. So away we go. Just slow that down a little bit there, I think. Now I'm doing that on the left-hand joystick of the two there. We'll take it down to a more reasonable speed so we get a better application. And we're off, folks. We are off. So we're going to keep this tracking for a few days. So it gives us a good amount of time to have a play around, get some slurry done, get some other jobs done. Crucially, get some loader work done as well, so we can see just what we like. But with it all being said, I think it's we're on to a winner here. I would love to know what you think of the plan, what you think of the new land that we picked up as well. Lots happening here, and what you think we should do around our tractor options here. There's a few different choices, and I think it's going to take, obviously a lot of it's going to come down to the cost at the end of the day there, but we can still make a decision on which one we prefer before then. And I have an idea of which way I'm leaning at the moment, and we have to see how we can afford to do it. But with that being said, we'll cross that bridge when we need to. For right now, it's all about just trying out these lovely machines and seeing how we get on. Let's just lift it up, knock off the PTO again. We'll simply cruise back over. What I need to do as well is figure out how the GPS and this guy works sooner rather than later, so I can get that all engaged and plotted in, and then we'll be good. So with that, really, guys, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed. Look at the beautiful 6714. We dribble barring for the first time as well, and we're going to see how we get on there. So do come back and check in with us next time, when we will be giving you an update on all things Slurry, and we'll see how it's going. Until then, do stay safe, enjoy what you're doing as always. If you like this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Simulation for the Nation for more, and we'll see you in the next one. Catch you later.